Hello everyone, welcome to Bootham Crescent in York. Let's straight away get down to business and bring you up to date with the teams. It's a young York City side, particularly in the centre of defence, where Steve Tuttle and Paul Atkin have re-established a partnership which began at Wembley in England's Schoolboy International 6 years ago. Sean Reid organises the midfield very much in the manner of his older brother Peter. Jon McCarthy and Ian Blackstone, the two strikers, are both in their first year as full-time professionals. McCarthy after completing his degree in sports science and administration. Blackstone, who's 27 now, gave up his job as an engineer to try his luck in football with York City.
I think in cup-tie football, winning is the be-all and end-all in that sense, because if we don't win tonight, then we become another club in the Football League. If we do win and the fortune goes with us in the cup draw and we get one of the big boys again, then people take an interest in our club, and that's what I want to do. That's what I aim to do. We're aiming to try and win.
Well, this is the formation, a basic 4-4-2. The side's defensive record is excellent, but only 16 goals scored in 17 league games shows the areas that John Ward, the manager, has been working on since he took over. Tranmere Rovers are coming off their worst result of the season, a 4-0 defeat at Ipswich last Saturday. Two casualties then from that crushing defeat. Out goes Dave Martindale, the midfield playmaker. He's dropped, and so too is the experienced striker Jim Steele, with Neil McNabb and Steve Cooper the replacements.
It's a one-off. You don't get a second chance. It's not like league football. You can have a bad game and then come back and have another go at it next week, but you can't in the FA Cup. The greatest competition in the world, and I hope that we play that way, to realise that it is the greatest competition and it can lead. You never know in football. These paths are twisty and windy, and we've gone a long way up a few of them. And let's hope that we can go a fair way up this one.
Tranmere do play with an out-and-out sweeper, Mark Hughes, who joined his Manchester United namesake in the last Welsh squad. McNabb, in fact, is looking for a move, and he has the chance to impress potential buyers coming back into the side in midfield tonight. And Steve Cooper will operate up front alongside John Aldridge, with Johnny Morrissey providing the service from either flank. Well, at the moment, he is the ultimate striker. John Aldridge, and the FA Cup has already been special for him. And also for Ian Blackstone, who got the 2 goals at Bridlington as York got through the first round on an afternoon that could have produced a potential upset. Referee Paul Harrison comes from Hayward in Lancashire. No problems for the referee in terms of the conditions. The pitch is starting to whiten now as the frost comes down, but it would certainly take a stud at kick-off time. Tranmere Rovers kick off, attacking the goal to the right in the all-white strip. And here's Cooper. And a chance to say good evening to Trevor Francis. Trevor, who's had a busy day already managing Sheffield Wednesday successfully. Welcome to you.
Thanks very much, Martin. It's good to be here, and I'm looking forward to enjoying a good game tonight.
Well, Pepper driving on from midfield. He'll be in the centre of that department alongside Sean Reid for York. Mark Hughes plays it long for Tranmere. Headed forward by Phil Crosby, who's the York captain. York City are 14th in the 4th division, Tranmere Rovers 14th in the 2nd. Surprised to find out early in the season that they didn't automatically qualify for a bye to the 3rd round, but they've got the chance to get their place nonetheless if they can get through this tie. York do have a proud cup-fighting tradition. Back in the 50s, as a side in the old 3rd Division North, they got to the semi-final, leaving a trail of famous scalps behind them. The barrier they have to beat tonight is Eric Nixon, a well-respected goalkeeper in the game. McNabb. Here's Cooper. Wayne Hall, the number 10 for York, coming out of that particular situation with some style. Andy McMillan, who was born in South Africa, of British parents. And here's Tony Canham, who's a very popular figure at Bootham Crescent, 31 years old now. And he's worked hard to get in the cross. Blackstone will jump for this one. And try and maybe angle it down for McCarthy, whose run was blocked by Higgins. But every striker likes to get first to the first cross that comes in, and Ian Blackstone did that for York City. John Ward, in his first month as a manager, has certainly served his time as an assistant at Watford, of course, and Aston Villa with Graham Taylor. And recently he's been an England coach at under-21 and B level. Morrissey. And Phil Crosby claiming that John Morrissey played that behind and it should have been a goal kick, but the corner's been given to Tranmere. Cooper is excellent in the air. He's waiting by the near post. Vickers too, who comes in from the back. And John Aldridge hoping something will drop his way. Chris Marples with a good punch.
You just mentioned John Ward there, Martin. I'm sure that he realises that if York are to progress to the third round, it's very important that they get the right result tonight here. I rather feel that if they were to sort of get a draw tonight, it would certainly be in Tranmere's favour. Tranmere can get 2 results tonight, a draw or a win, which would be very, very pleasing for them. Whereas I'm sure that York would want to win outright tonight.
John King was actually saying when he arrived that he would take the draw now, even though he's been complaining that Tranmere have had so many cup ties. They're doing well in the Zenith Data Systems Cup, of course, as well. And it took Leeds United to put them out of the Rumbelows Cup on a night, yet again, when John Aldridge was a scorer. But he's now come back to defend here. Now Wayne Hall is left-footed, and this might be an angle to suit him. Here he comes, and it's a fine try, and very well taken by Nixon. Hall hit that hard and true, and it bounced just in front of the goalkeeper. Difficult to hang on to.
Yes, it's a good strike. I think all you can ask from a forward from that sort of distance is hit the target. But Nixon took it very, very cleanly.
Cooper. A lot of competition for places with Tranmere now. Morrissey's offside. They've come a long way in a short time, these players. And in fact, Tranmere Rovers are now something of a blueprint for York City to follow. Tranmere, of course, not so long ago were fighting for their sheer existence. Now they're regular visitors to Wembley, and they've reached the second division again for only the second time in their history. And they're hoping to give Merseyside something to cheer about in a week which has brought Rumbelows Cup disaster for Liverpool and for Everton. Here's McMillan to take the free kick for York. And Blackstone trying to get in front here. McNabb, who's been through all this before. Atkin. Not getting it very far. Morrissey under pressure from Crosby. Aldridge. York do feel that with their paltry tally of goals this season, it's very important for them to score first and get the psychological boost from that. Once they're trailing in a game, the sheer statistics of their season suggests it's going to be an uphill struggle. Steve Tuttle and Cooper, they'll have some battles in the air. Kenny Irons, who loves to maraud forward from midfield, and I just wondered for a second whether the ball had actually got into the penalty area when Marples claimed it, but the linesman saw nothing wrong. Higgins and Aldridge. Unlike Liverpool and Everton, Tranmere have got a hard core of locally born players set up. A foul by McCarthy on Hughes as he tried to come forward. McNabb taking the free kick quickly, and some very calm defending by McMillan. Blackstone. And Nolan, who's just got into the side on the right of Tranmere's midfield. He's wearing number 11. Getting a second chance in the professional game. He started at Preston North End under the YTS scheme, but wasn't taken on, having completed that apprenticeship. Stray header by Atkin. McNabb. Here is Nolan. Paul should get the ball from him with help of Reed. His style is very much in the manner of older brother Peter. He likes the short passing game, but Vickers with a long stride here and a good run and a shot that needed some stopping from Marples. And a shake of the head from the goalkeeper, who was complaining that Steve Vickers was allowed to go on and on into the penalty area.
Certainly was a determined run, and a bit unfortunate there. But that's the type of runs that you have to make from the midfield, and it certainly unbalances the defence when you come forward like that. I think that just leave it there.
You're right to do that, Trevor, when John Aldridge is in the penalty area.
No, I was going to say that with McNabb in the midfield, and it's the type of players that John Aldridge needs, because he's such a good passer of the ball. But the way that Aldridge has been playing this season, I think one or two of the goals he scored have certainly been just down to John Aldridge. The goal he scored in the first round against Runcorn is certainly one of the goals of this year's FA Cup, the overhead kick. Quite a memorable goal, yes.
Miscued by Pepper. Aldridge. Crosby playing safe. Morrissey, for the moment, restricting himself to the right-hand side. Hughes has come up for the long throw. And Cooper. Well, it was Vickers again. Cooper got there first, and once there is a flick on, there's always likely to be trouble for the defending side.
That was a similar situation that I was talking about in the first round when John Aldridge scored that brilliant overhead kick.
Yes, Steve Vickers not quite in John Aldridge's class when it comes to finishing, but who is? Not very many. The odd thing about John Aldridge and Tranmere is that when John was playing non-league football in the late 70s, Tranmere could have bought him for around £4,000, but they couldn't come up with the money. When they did acquire him, of course, it was £250,000, but that looks an absolute bargain. Hughes is there again beyond Cooper, who will attack the free kick from McNabb, and that's very much Steve Cooper's style. He's had a cartilage operation this season. He hasn't figured too much in the first team.
That's a good flighted free kick there, and Cooper comes in, attacks the ball well. That's a good example there of how to attack the ball. Unfortunately, a little bit wayward, but a good determined header from Steve Cooper.
Had to stretch.
I don't know what the precise measurements are of this pitch, Martin, but it seems a rather big pitch. You know, we think that it certainly suits Tranmere's style. They like to play good football, and plenty of open spaces out there. Certainly suits the likes of McNabb, who I was talking about earlier.
Well, it is very much in their makeup to get the ball down and pass it. They were worried when they arrived at the ground, feeling that York perhaps hadn't prepared the playing surface as much as they might have done, hadn't rolled it to try and take some of the technique out of the Tranmere play and just even the odds a little. McCarthy, I'm not quite sure what was in his mind then. He's still learning the game, Jon McCarthy, and if he learns it as well as he's studied his academic pursuits, he'll make a fine player. Here's Hughes. Atkin wants to shepherd this back to Marples. A little agitated. Given the chance, the New York manager really to stand on his own feet in management. He's been grateful for the help of Graham Taylor, but there comes a time when the cord has to be cut. Blackstone. A lot of the preparation done this week by York City has involved Ian Blackstone to try and get him to be a bit more selfish, really, to help York improve their poor scoring ratio. It's a corner. Atkin's gone to the near post. Pepper waiting in the goal area. The shot was from McCarthy. Here's Hall. Now Reid. Higgins tight on McCarthy, knowing that he's got the insurance of the sweeper behind him. But the whistle's gone. All Ian Blackstone's goals this season, the three of them have come in cup competitions. Hughes with the free kick, looking for Cooper, who appreciated that he got time for an extra touch. Crosby. And McCarthy tussling with the hard man, Higgins. Now Higgins and the manager John King have happy memories of this ground from their days in non-league football together when they were both with Canham. Came here and knocked York City out of the FA Cup. It was an interim period for John King, who's had two spells as Tranmere's manager, and that cup run was instrumental in bringing him back to Prenton Park. And of course, when he came back into full-time football, he invited Dave Higgins and also another of his players, Dave Martindale, who's been left out of the side tonight, to come to Tranmere Rovers with him. Free kick to their side to be taken by Mark Hughes. 0-0 with just over 15 minutes gone at Bootham Crescent. Crosby. Now already working out before the ball came what he wanted to do with it. Nolan's cross, looking for Cooper's strength in the air again. Irons and Cooper. Trevor, you do get the impression that the pitch is getting a little slipperier with every passing minute.
Yes, I was just going to mention it actually. I've noticed that, what are we, just over 15 minutes into the game, and one or two players are losing their footing. The frost is starting to form on the pitch, and I think fortunately underneath it is still quite soft. But as the temperature drops throughout the evening, it'll be interesting to see what happens during the second half.
Just a thin crispness on the very top of the pitch at the moment. possessing a lot of the ball and exerting a considerable influence at the moment. At the age of 34, Neil McNabb does feel that if he's not going to be a regular with Tranmere, it is the time to seek employment elsewhere, maybe get one last, he would hope, lucrative move. He's been in professional football since a 15-year-old. And Tranmere at the moment, looking the more orderly side, as one would expect, given their superior status. Morrissey. Aldridge can't get there first that time. McNabb. Cooper and Hughes looking for a deep cross. Maybe Morrissey will supply it. Oh, now there's maybe a frozen rut that made the ball pop up and rather embarrass Ian Nolan. Nolan to take the throw. McNabb available again. There was a foul by Hall on Nolan after the ball was released. There's been a succession of free kicks to Tranmere in this sort of area. Again, their response is to send Steve Vickers, one of the two defensive markers, forward, and the sweeper Mark Hughes. McNabb takes it. Cooper climbs extravagantly. It drops for Morrissey. He's got a trick or two. Nolan missed kicks. Irons has the shot. Nolan again. At the moment, Tranmere Rovers are controlling the shape of the match. Branner. And Hughes to stay forward. They can afford that luxury. Irons with the cross. McMillan trying to bring it out. McNabb. The pressure at the moment on York City is intense. But they're defending the edge of their area well enough. That might change here. Nolan. In goes Aldridge. Nolan again. It ends as a goal kick. Sustained pressure, Trevor.
Yes, some good passing movements there. I think Tranmere showing the difference in class. That was a good run there from, it was Morrissey. Cross was initially blocked, but once again you see John Aldridge knowing exactly where the ball was going to go, looking to the near post. That's a typical John Aldridge run. That's where he scored so many of his goals in his career, making that well-timed run to the near post.
Wherever he's played, at whatever the level. And he was a great success in Spain on the field, but it was the lifestyle that didn't suit his family. And he was so pleased to come back to Merseyside. That gave Tranmere Rovers the edge, really, when it came to negotiating the transfer, which was a complicated one, I understand. Cooper is offside.
Tranmere are virtually playing with three forwards up in Cooper, Aldridge and Morrissey, and I feel that if Morrissey could just pull a little bit wider, just to give them a bit more width, they would have a bit more success. The only problem at times when you do play with three up front, you get a little bit flat, and I feel that if Morrissey was to pull out a little bit towards this right, it would certainly help the likes of Cooper and Aldridge, the type of service that they rely on.
Well, it's York trying to put some service from a wide position to their front men. With McMillan making some progress down the right-hand side. He takes the throw. Canham. Atkin. Oh, and it's come all the way to Pepper. And suddenly, after being forced back onto the defensive, a glimmer of the goal at the other end that York are trying to find. And it was Nigel Pepper sneaking in then, and it's led to a corner. Tuttle and Atkins joining Blackstone, and Pepper in the centre. Hall takes the corner. Pepper very nearly met it, and it's Eric Nixon's ball in the end. Well, Nigel Pepper, as his name might suggest, is a rather hot-tempered character. He was sent off 3 times last season. The oddity in that is all the red cards were against one club, Darlington. And he followed in here on Nixon. And the goalkeeper didn't like it too much.
No, I can quite understand that. It was rather unnecessary sort of challenge from Pepper.
Indication of the commitment brought about by the FA Cup. And there's Hall this time just a little too rugged, as Pepper was a moment earlier. John Ward has found York to be a very pleasant city to work in. At York City, the football club, also a very pleasant football club, but he would like a bit more devil in his team. Maybe words on that subject have provoked one or two of the York players to be more aggressive than perhaps is natural to them. Well, McCarthy had shielded the ball well from Higgins, who has an aggression all of his own. And at Lancaster Gate they have rather a fat file alongside the name of Dave Higgins. And the disciplinary office there often talks his way into trouble. Atkin. That's one for York to chase. Hughes clearing it. Wouldn't have run onto the goalkeeper. And now it's a battle not only against the opposition here for the two teams, but against the weather and the conditions as well. John Morrissey getting carried away. The last time he played here, incidentally, he was sent off in an incident with one of the York players who's in the side tonight, Tony Canham. Crosby takes a deep free kick. Cooper back defending. York should be first to this with Pepper. And he hoped for a corner, but deep down realised it would be a goal kick. Just over 20 minutes to go before half-time in the second round of the FA Cup, live on Sky Sports. It's York City 0, Tranmere Rovers 0. The draw for the third round later tonight. Unusual for Tranmere to find themselves as the Goliaths against the Davids from the 4th Division. Often been the other way round in the recent past for the team from Merseyside. York haven't really asserted themselves as yet. Aldridge, the man they fear. McNabb, Cooper to the left. And now looking to line up a shot. He hasn't scored this season, he hasn't had many games. There's a mistake by Higgins. McCarthy, Blackstone's up with him. Hall racing on from midfield. McCarthy tries to go it alone. And did he handle then? Hall has the shot, the whistle's gone. Well, it was Wayne Hall in the end, but it was really all about Jon McCarthy. He gave away the free kick after a bold break.
There's a couple of mistakes there, allowing York to have a good situation. Here we see a rather casual defending there. I wouldn't think that the manager would be too pleased with that sort of defending.
Morrissey. Nolan was sold a bit short then. In behind irons. Can he find a shot? He can, but it's not a telling one.
get the feeling that when York arrive in the last sort of third of the field, they're somewhat lacking in confidence. I think that bears out what you were saying earlier, that with their actual goal statistics, they don't score that many goals, and I think it's showing somewhat in this early part of the game. It's a second sort of effort from that sort of distance when it's been more like a back pass to the goalkeeper.
Irons can hit them a lot better, and he's going to get the opportunity to strike it goal here. It's deflected off Atkin. Kenny Irons scored in the first round of the FA Cup, Tranmere against near neighbours Runcorn. But that goal was rather overshadowed by two from John Aldridge that got the headlines in that 3-0 win. And it was a fine goal. Canham to Macmillan. McCarthy not really laying it off as he would have liked. Aldridge. Now McNabb. Morrissey still an outlet to the right ahead of Nolan. Moving infield now. Allowing Nolan to come forward himself, but he ran out of room. York have spent 3 days this week at an army establishment at nearby Harrogate. It necessitated the players getting up at 6:30 a.m. for their breakfast. But they took it all in good spirit. I did understand that they went back to bed again afterwards, which the army lads didn't. But John Ward will have hoped that that's given them an edge. But Morrissey, can he get away from Crosby? Johnny Morrissey for Tranmere. And he's put them in front. 28 minutes gone. Certainly a goal in keeping with the balance of play. And Johnny Morrissey, who doesn't have the best of fortune usually in away matches, is a joke at Tranmere that he's so often substituted when they play away from Prenton Park, but he's made a major impact here in the second round of the FA Cup. And Crosby tried to track him as he went inside but couldn't, and Morrissey found a lovely angle shot across Marples. 1-0 Tranmere.
Yes, that was a goal of the highest quality. It was a good pass, an exceptionally good run from Morrissey inside the fullback Crosby. He timed his run to perfection, good dribble, and then a great finish. An excellent goal.
York respond with a corner. So a change in mood for John Morrissey, who the last time he played here, as I said earlier, was sent off. And now he's made an impact for very much the right reason. So York City have fallen into the position that they feared of being a goal down. But it was a goal to emphasise the difference in quality between the two clubs at the moment. And there's a cup tradition in the Morrissey family, of course. His father of the same name, a fine player with Liverpool and Everton. Played for Everton in the 1968 FA Cup final itself. Aldridge from Nolan. Now McNabb. Nolan's cross. Marple started to come, stayed back, and Cooper and Aldridge going for the same ball, maybe getting in each other's way. A bit of a little inquest there between the two of them, and I don't think John Aldridge was too pleased about Cooper's positioning.
Once again, good build-up play from Tranmere. Good ball in. Unfortunately, Cooper and Aldrich saw the chance of a goal, and rather than two of them going for it, it would have been better just one of them leaving it. But that's keenness for you.
And certainly the way Cooper plays, he expects to attack the crosses. The man he's replaced, Jim Steele, of course, is in his last season of league football. He joins the Merseyside Police next summer. sure will be looking for duty at football grounds on Saturday afternoon. Reed. Here's Pepper. Crosby started to set off and try and make Morrissey do some defending and reverse the roles. Blackstone, and will come for Hall. He's trying to loop the header. It was certainly a plausible plan for Wayne Hall to try and just get the trajectory on the header and drop it inside the far post.
Yes, I feel it's certainly a good idea from Hall. Could have done much more than that. Unfortunately for him, just got a little bit too much power on it. But the idea was certainly good.
Well, York now in a position where they have to add some thrust to their play, and a quick free kick from Pepper. McCarthy trying to respond to it. McNabb coming up with the answer once more. All credit so far to John King and his team selection for Tranmere, although McNabb does make a mistake. And York didn't quite have enough players forward to cash in on it. Morrissey. What John King did was to leave out two of his established men. His assistant Ronnie Moore there to the right of the manager as we look. And that also reminded those who have been selected that their places aren't perhaps as sure as they might have thought. And the response from Tranmere Rovers in the opening chapter to this FA Cup second round tie has been most successful. Minutes to go to half-time. York City 0, Tranmere Rovers 1. Aldridge. Oh, this time Morrissey hadn't set off. McMillan's long ball. Blackstone trying to chase it into the corner. Maybe get in behind the markers and drag the sweeper out of position. That's the theory. But the service hasn't been quite right from York City so far. McCarthy, who has got speed. Canham's got craft, and he pushed in then to Jed Brannan, and that interrupted the progress of York. But Canham, who at the moment is confined to the right of midfield, can crop up in the centre. Certainly has proved in the past a difficult opponent in the lower divisions. Pepper. Here's Reed, who is the youngest of four Reed brothers, incidentally. Peter is the oldest, a 9-year span. Cooper. Well, that was a splendid leap again, and the header angle to try and pick out the run of Kenny Irons nearly came off for Tranmere. Reed. Here's Canham. That was cover there in the shape of Hughes. Difficult to turn sharply now. Players being forced, as the temperatures drop and the pitch gets more and more treacherous, to play the ball the way they're facing. York waiting for Tuttle to arrive, hopefully to flick on the long throw. Hughes in trouble, and then it all ends an unnecessary free kick given away by Steve Tuttle.
Yes, you feel at times that York are just getting a little bit too anxious. You mentioned 1 or 2 unnecessary fouls, and it's not doing the cause any good. I think when the ball's in that penalty box like that, you really are looking for the defenders to make mistakes, and you know, by giving free kicks away, it just lets them off the hook.
Eric Nixon is not just the goalkeeper for Tranmere, he's the captain as well.
I think the biggest difference, though, in this first half has been the quality of passing. I think that Tranmere, coming from the second division, have showed their quality. They've passed it around. At times, they've penetrated the York defence, and I would think they're very, very satisfied with their first half performance.
Cooper. Reed got in the way for York. Here's Hughes. Vickers, who's very much a footballing central defender. Likes to get the ball down and pass it, and that's, as Trevor was saying, the Tranmere modus operandi. And Hughes almost caught out then by McCarthy's speed. Let the ball run away from him. It's a warning for the second division side. Although Hughes complaining that he was fouled in the end, McCarthy was on him like a shot. It's McCarthy's cross. Oh, nearly ran for Blackstone. An excellent header by Canham. And although Tranmere are in charge, there's no room for complacency here. Particularly as there are likely to be more individual errors forced upon players by the conditions underfoot as the evening wears on. Vickers again thoughtful in his use of the ball. Aldridge withstanding the buffeting at the back from Atkin. York have put together a reasonable run of results on this ground. 6 home games unbeaten before tonight. Just 1 defeat in the 4th division here this season. Hughes. And Pepper in the way. Vickers wanting to get the ball down and play it again. Hughes. That's Reed doing what he does best. Sensing where the ball would drop, getting it and passing it simply and straightforwardly to a colleague. It's a more imaginative pass from McCarthy. And Blackstone can jump here. Hall plays it back and it's just over the top, and that's the closest that York City have come. With just over 5 minutes left in the first half.
That was good play from York. Good cross to the far post. Good header across goal. Determined header. And that's Hall once again with another little cheeky lob. Unfortunate, he just put a little bit too much on it.
Yes, Tony Canham getting in the cross. And certainly something for Blackstone to fight for with the first header. This is McCarthy. That's a good try. And York finding their best football of the match so far. And some much-needed penetration here. McCarthy dragging Higgins wherever he goes, and he got the better of him then. Vickers taking Blackstone, who's complaining to the referee at the moment that there's a foul on him then. Vickers with the header, but it's gone across the pitch and needed a rescuing act by Irons. And Vickers has completely miscued this time, looking left. But it is easy to sit up here and point that out. It's hard work down at pitch level tonight. Brannan. And you can hear the extra buzz of hope and expectation from York City whenever he gets the ball.
Yes, and I think the reason for that is, Martin, because he's got that extra bit of pace. Anyone with pace is always going to cause problems to defenders. He made a good determined run this now with a good shot, which Nixon was down to. And that was another determined run.
Really would electrify the atmosphere if York could get an equaliser here. Hall. Crosby making sure the ball didn't drop behind him where Cooper was chasing. 3 minutes to go to half-time. Crosby again. McCarthy using his speed to try and cut off the back pass, but he wasn't quite that quick. Jon McCarthy is an interesting character. He represented the country in the World Student Games and got 5 goals in international competition. That was back in the summer, of course. Just before that, he'd finished his studies at Nottingham Polytechnic. Even when he was a student, he had one league appearance with Hartlepool. And then a connection with the current assistant manager here, Alan Little, brought him on to York City, and now he's going to give football his full attentions for the next few years. And as Trevor said, with the most prized commodity of all, pace, he has a chance to make a real impact. I know 1 or 2 clubs have already spotted his potential. Blackstone is his ally in attack, forcing Vickers into a header that dropped the wrong way from Tranmere's point of view. Crosby troubled by the conditions. Pepper. Keeping his balance, keeping the ball. That's McCarthy, and Nixon is there. The threat is growing from York City, and from Jon McCarthy in particular.
Once again, good play from York. Good ball in, and that's McCarthy with a great header. That's a fine save from Nixon.
We're in the final minute of the first half. York City have a corner. And Nixon dominant again. Reed. Looking for McCarthy. And forced another corner. Well, it's a stirring finish. For half an hour, York were in danger of being given something of a footballing lesson here by their second division opponents. But they've rolled up their sleeves for John Ward. That's Atkin. And the other centre-back, Tuffle there as well. And the whistle goes, and the players actually slow to respond to it. It is half-time at Bootham Crescent. Well, so far so good for Tranmere Rovers. A fine goal by John Morrissey, a good time for him to collect his first of the season. But in the last 10 minutes or so, York City have started to show their strength. And Jon McCarthy in particular is emerging as a major figure in this cup tie. But at half-time here in York, it's York City 0, Tranmere Rovers 1.